Next up, we are going to talk about Justin Bateman, also known as Pebble Picasso.
Pebble Picasso.
Yeah. So he was born in England. His father was military and then a solicitor. His mother worked for a children's charity. Both of his grandfathers fought in the Korean War, and so he heard a lot of stories about it growing up. Like many artists, he was not too good at school, but then ironically ended up becoming a professor.
Oh, okay, that checks out.
Yeah. So he obviously had a love of learning and teaching, and he has some classical background, and you'll see that pop up a lot in his subject matter because he goes kind of a lot back to the masters. At one point, he decided he needed to take a sabbatical.
Okay.
So he got approval from his university. He sold everything and started traveling with a backpack, literally like a 7-pound backpack. And that's all he had. He got rid of all the things.
Sounds like a Sagittarius.
He didn't want to rely on income from art as he feared it would stunt his creativity. Which is an interesting take. Not something I've really thought about.
Yeah.
But it's kind of true. If you're creating art, needing to make money off of it, you might create different things than what you would do for yourself. And we'll talk about that too. Like the commercial kind of stuff versus the like inner.
Yeah, what you want to do.
Sometimes it overlaps.
Yeah.
Because there are other people who like the things that you like.
Yeah.
But, that's an interesting take on it.
Yeah. He's not too entirely wrong.
He's not. And he was luckily in a position where he had enough income. He had some rental properties and stuff that he was getting enough from that he could live off of that and travel as long as he didn't go crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
But he was traveling and then he came back for a little bit and he was hanging out at the beach with some old school friends. And he started to play around with some of the rocks, and him and his friend ended up making what they called the Stona Lisa.
I think it's the coolest thing ever.
It's so cool.
I think it's the coolest thing ever.
The amount of variety that they were able to find just on that beach.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4-ish kind of colors, and then your bigger stones, which is cool.
Yep. Yeah, and they even framed it.
Wait.
It's got
I thought you meant actually. What are you talking about?
Actually, no.
Gotcha. Yes.
They created a frame for it.
Yeah.
The rocks. But yeah, you get a lot of variation in there, and it gives me that same vibe of the mosaics from Henry Dalton.
Oh, yeah.
All the kind of piecemeal.
It's the same thinking. It's the same kind of thoughts, brain activity, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. But I mean, it's not super precise because it couldn't possibly be.
Yeah.
But you still get the eyes, the nose, the little smirk of a smile.
I like it because it's loosey-goosey.
It is. It is. It's almost like an impressionist version of the Mona Lisa. But
that's one thing I do like about mosaic is because the pieces you'll have larger and smaller pieces, and they kind of just are gadunk, gadunk, gadunk. So you get this sort of interesting variation, and it's very, like you said, it's not going to be perfect, and that's kind of the point of mosaic is because there's these random pieces that are kind of put together.
Yeah, and you're fitting things in a way that they weren't necessarily intended, and I think that manipulation is really fun.
Mm-hmm. Is there more? Is there more?
So much more. There's so much more.
Does he have a background in portraits at all? Did he?
He's very good at them. So I think that was definitely something he concentrated on while he was in. So there was not a lot of info on him, unfortunately. And most of the info I did find was his blog, which had 3 entries. And it was not everybody can get rid of all their stuff and be out in the wind like me, but highly recommend. Basically,
highly recommend. So my assumption is that he goes out and then finds the rocks.
Yes.
He's not like grabbing rocks and bringing them with him.
Yeah, so he's pretty much parked himself in Bali, I believe, now. And it took him a little bit to realize, like, I could literally do this anywhere. And it was a lot of his traveling was inspired by his grandfathers as they talked about, you know, Korea and stuff. And he actually fell in love with a lot of Asian culture as a result of that. So he can do this literally anywhere, and he finds spaces to do it. There's a really cool shot that's like in the middle of the forest.
This is really cool, and it's like out of nowhere. It's completely out of place. He's like, da da da. What? What is this doing here?
And I love that about it. It's so spontaneous.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure to include one that shows him working so we could see the scale.
Okay.
Nothing else. But I mean, look at this. All these little tiny pieces.
Wow.
And these are all pretty monochromatic. But he's still finding enough variation to make it work. It's subtle and it feels like old Renaissance work, you know, that doesn't have harsh lines and stuff. But
it's just so cool because you can see the movement also in the hair of like how he's stacking the pebbles.
Yeah.
And you can just see the movement like in the face. It's so cool. So this is what you would call temporary art?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a fixed.
Uh-huh.
He's creating it
On the go, on the fly.
wherever it is. So just imagine walking along and then tripping and looking down and like what have I done? So I don't know how long these would really last.
Yeah.
And there's something around that. I don't know. It's like sad and scary and all the more impressive for that reason. So he's really doing it for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I don't want to rely on art for my income comes in.
Okay.
Because how is he going to sell that?
You know, I think there is something to be said for temporary art because I'm not sure where it is, but there's like these like Buddhist monks somewhere where they like make this really huge, like a group kind of like project where they do this cool chalk art and it's so elaborate. And when they're done with it, it's just gone away. But the message is there's something about that. It's temporary. It's like life. It's fleeting. You're just in the moment and then it's gone.
Absolutely. And he's obviously putting his skill to work, whether the art survives or not. And you think of artists all throughout the centuries, they didn't know if their stuff was going to end up in a museum someday. They were creating to create as much as they were to maybe live off of.
Yeah.
But there should not be too much tied to the end result. It's much about the process.
Yeah.
And I think he really exemplifies that.
There's a freedom in that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for watching this clip of Spotlight with Purple Easel.
We're art instructors at SoCal's largest paint sip studio.
Check out purpleeaselplus.com to join the largest online paint and sip community.
And you want to make sure to like, subscribe, follow, ring that bell, add to the conversation, comment below, and check out our full episodes at Purple Easel Spotlight.
We'll see you soon.